So just to recap, today is the Disappearance Day of Rupa Goswami, who is a very important personality in this time. It's one of the 6 Goswamis. It's talking Mano Bistam. Mano Bistam. Start he understands the meaning of desires.
So we can't hear well.
I'll tell you what, I will.
Hare Krishna. Maitre Rishi Prabhu, please unmute yourself. And Prabhuji, you have, I think, 2 login, so keep the phone away from your laptop. I think this could be disturbance.
Okay, now can you hear me?
That's better, Prabhuji.
Yeah,
Okay,
much clearer.
That's fine.
That's
So
fine, Prabhuji.
we're using the phone now. So, okay, let's just, good. So he's one of the 6 Goswamis, and actually is regarded to be incarnation of Rupa Manjari. And Rupa Manjari is one of the most intimate associates of the Lord. Just want to check here. Okay, good. This is a chart that we've been through many times. Here's the material world, here's Vaikuntha, here's Golok Vrindavan. And in Golok Vrindavan, if we look at the petals, the core of the petals, there's Radha and Krishna in the center, and we have the 8 gopis, the first set of petals. And then if you look at the second set of petals, there's Rupa Manjari. And it is regarded that Rupa Goswami is an incarnation of Rupa Manjari. She is one of the main Manjaris who assists Lalita and Vishaka to serve Radha and Krishna. So she's got a very exalted position in the spiritual kingdom. And that is the personality who's come as Rupa Goswami. So it is said that one cannot take shelter of Lord Chaitanya unless one takes shelter of Rupa Goswami. And similarly, unless one takes shelter of Rupa Manjari, it's not possible, especially if in this parampara, to enter the confidential loving pastimes of Radha and Krishna. So it's very important to understand that Rupa Goswami is somebody that we have great high regard for. His lineage, okay, his lineage is exalted as well. Let me just, sorry, I just want to see where we are. Can you see the screen still? Oh, yes. Okay. Okay. Devotees can hear?
Yes, yeah.
Okay, good.
Yes.
So his lineage is exalted. He comes from Brahmin family, and an exalted Brahmin family. This is from the Bharadwaj Gotra. And his other brothers are actually Sanatan and Anupam. And I won't go through the lineage, but I'll share this slide in the presentation, in the seminar notes. So you can see for yourself that actually they come from a line of very exalted Brahmins. But however, what happened was they lived at a time when Alauddin Hussein Shah was ruling, the Mohammedan was ruling the area in Bengal. He consulted with his guru, who apparently could tell the future. And the guru said to him that these 2 exalted Brahmins, that's Rupa Goswami and Sanat Goswami, if they are in your kingdom, then your kingdom will prosper. So he appointed them as ministers, and they were forced to take the position of ministers. Rupa Goswami's name was changed to Dabir Khas, and Sanatan Goswami's name was changed to Sakhara Malika. They had other names before that. I can't remember exactly what they are now. So they were actually extraordinarily wealthy because they were ministers in the ruler's kingdom. But also, they were very unhappy. They were exalted personalities. They heard about the glories of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, and they wrote a letter to Chaitanya Mahaprabhu begging him for his darshan. And he wrote back saying, just like a married woman is attached to another man, she's always thinking about the other man. You also continue with your duty. The married woman would do the same, do the duties very nicely at home, as if nothing is wrong. You do your duty very nicely, and surely Krishna will bestow your mercy upon you. So one time, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu actually came to their place in Ramakeli. And at that time, they met with Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, and they had wonderful, wonderful interaction with Chaitanya. They immediately decided to leave their positions in the kingdom and dedicate their lives to Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. So it happened that Rupa and Anupam were able to extricate themselves from their positions in the kingdom, and they went immediately. They tried to leave. They went to meet Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. They eventually met him in Allahabad, in Prayag, and they stayed there for quite some time. And Chaitanya Mahaprabhu gave Rupa Goswami many, many wonderful instructions. And Rupa Goswami, is the Goswami, if devotees remember, he distributed his wealth. 50% he gave in charity, 25% he gave to his family, 25% he kept for himself. But even that, actually, he left it for Sanatana Goswami, because Sanatana Goswami could not extricate himself from the ministry. So he left 10,000 gold coins for Sanatana Goswami, and then eventually Sanatana Goswami managed to use that money and free himself from the kingdom and join him in Vrindavan. Rupa Goswami was given two main tasks. In fact, he was given more, but the two main ones were find the original deities of Lord Krishna and the original holy places associated with Lord Krishna's Leela, and also to write, to preach this Gaudiya Vaishnava theology, because Rupa Goswami was such an educated personality. He knew many languages. Sanskrit was his foremost language. And he wrote many, many books in Bengali, Sanskrit, like that. He first arrived in Vrindavan in 1516, and they've eventually discovered the deities of Radha Govindji, and Sanatana Goswami discovered the deity of Radha Madan Mohanji. And these are the beautiful deities. Now the original deities are worshipped in Jaipur. At that time, Rupa Goswami organized the construction of a very beautiful temple for Radha Govindji. But the Mughals came and they were destroying things. So the original deities were moved to Jaipur. And these are beautiful deities of Radha Madan Mohan. And they were discovered by Sanatana Goswami. And there's a wonderful pastime. I won't go through the pastime of how these deities were recovered. Actually, very briefly, a cowherd boy came to Rupa Goswami who was desperately looking. And the cowherd boy said, actually, there is a cow that goes and milks, gives its milk at a certain spot in Braj. And I'm sure the deity is there. So eventually Rupa Goswami realized that this was none other than Krishna who would come to him and told him where he is. So they organized a wonderful festival. They excavated the deity and worshipped very gloriously, very beautifully. And even Chaitanya Mahaprabhu was so pleased. He came there one time. Also, he sent many devotees there to assist the Goswamis. One day, Vallabhacharya came to meet Rupa Goswami, and Rupa Goswami showed him one of his works, Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu, the Nectar of Devotion, which we study as well. And at that time, Vallabhacharya suggested some corrections to Rupa Goswami, who's very, very intellectual, but he was very humble as well. He accepted Vallabhacharya's comments. But Jiva Goswami, who's actually a nephew of Rupa Goswami, one of the 6 Goswamis, highly intellectual as well, he couldn't tolerate. So he went to Vallabhacharya later on and he said, actually, those are not mistakes. Rupa Goswami is highly intellectual. And Vallabhacharya could see what the boy meant, Jiva Goswami. But later on, when Rupa Goswami found out what Jiva had done, he became very upset with Jiva. He said, Vallabhacharya is our elder. You should respect him. Even he might be wrong or right, it doesn't matter. In that way, Rupa Goswami instructed how to treat elders, which is really, very nice. And Rupa and Sanatana Goswami were always together. They were always in association with each other. Rupa Goswami wrote many, many books, and many of those books we read and study, very important books. He also discovered Vrinda Devi, where Vrinda Devi is, and we worship there. These are the books that he has written, hundreds of books, hundreds, very important scriptures. And a couple of pastimes which we can just quickly mention. One time Rupa Goswami wanted to cook a feast for Sanatana Goswami. He had a desire. And at that time, a young girl came and gave Rupa Goswami all the ingredients for the feast, especially a beautiful sweet rice preparation he made with those preparations. And Sanatana Goswami was amazed, and he tasted the sweet rice. It was so delicious. And he asked him, where did you get the ingredients? And Rupa Goswami said, well, no, sure, some young girl came from the village and gave to me. And then Sanatana Goswami understood this was none other than Radha who had come. And he said to Rupa Goswami, don't ever desire something like this, because you are making Radha serve you. She's come giving you everything. You don't have anything. Although they were very rich, they used to just wear loincloth. They were very, very simple. They used to sleep under a different tree every night. Such was their humility and tolerance. Such most amazing personalities. So in that way, we were taught a lesson that we should always endeavor to serve Radha and Krishna and not ask them for anything. If we want to ask for good health and protection, etc., then we approach Lord Nrsimhadev. But Radha and Krishna, they're busy with their pastimes. One time, Rupa Goswami came to Srila Prabhupada. This is in the 50s, late 50s. Srila Prabhupada was sweeping the courtyard of the Samadhi of Rupa Goswami. He was crying in the middle of the night. And this was relayed by a devotee who knows Prabhupada during those early times, one of the Brijbasis. And he would be crying in the middle of the night that my Guru Maharaj has given me an impossible task, please help me. And it is said that Rupa Goswami came to Prabhupada and said, don't worry, we're with you. We're with you. And I wanted to end there. His disappearance day is today, the 12th day of the bright fortnight of Shravan Mas. He disappeared in 1564. And his Samadhi and Bhajan Kutir are in Radha Damodar temple. Very, very beautiful places to have darshan of this glorious personality. Rupa Goswami ki jai. So thank you very much, dear devotees. Let's move on. 1 second.